For part 3 of the Moriko top sew-alongs. In this vlog we're going to talk about a little pattern hack that I've decided to try, and we're going to go through it together and see if it works or not, to try and get the one shoulder version of this top more modesty friendly. That's all I'm saying. And if you don't understand what I'm talking about, if you don't want your bra strap flashing, or you don't want to wear a strapless bra or go braless, this might be the solution if you want to try the one shoulder top. So, hi there, I'm Christine the Gemini Stitcher and welcome to my sewing space. This is part 3 of the Moriko top, which is part of my capsule collection sew-along series. If you don't know what I'm talking about, we've already done the Seasons of East dress, and this is garment number 2. We've gone through how to cut it out, what pattern pieces you need, and we've done a toile in part 1. Part 2, we actually sewed the double crossover top, which has a crossover at the front and the back. This is part 3, and we're going to look at the one shoulder top and a little hack to make it more modesty friendly. So without further ado, let's grab our pattern pieces and get this top sewn up. To make the one shoulder top, you only need 3 pattern pieces. Yes, 3. That's easy, isn't it? So you're going to need 1 sleeve. You don't need 2 because one side is sleeveless. So you need 1 sleeve. You need 1 of pattern piece D, and this is going to be your back piece. And you need 1 of pattern piece C, and this is going to be your front piece. The other thing you're going to need is the dreaded clear elastic, and my little tip is to practice using this on a scrap of fabric before you delve into your sewing, because every machine's different and you can try different needle setting, different needles, different settings on your machine. It's going to be sewn in with a zigzag stitch. So I'm going to have a practice with mine, and then I'll let you know what settings I found that are the best for my machine. So I've tested my fabric with the elastic inside on what zigzag stitch to use best. So I've got a stretch needle in, and that seems to be going through fine. And I've set my zigzag width to 6.5, which seems quite big, but it's got to span that elastic. And I've made it quite an open zigzag. So I've set the zigzag length to 5. So a width of 6.5 and a length of 5 is working good for me with this sort of elastic. So now I've done that, the first thing we're going to do, as we've done before, is press over the front and the back panel like I've done with this scrap of fabric and zigzag in that elastic. So there we go, I've done the zigzag stitching and my elastic is caught inside on the front and the back. I would say it tells you not to stretch the fabric on the instructions, which is right, but if you put a little bit of tension on that elastic while you're sewing it in, I don't mean yank it, I just mean just every so often give it a little pull, make sure it's not all gathering up underneath, and keep it nice and straight, and you should get a really neat finish on it. So I've done the fronts and the backs. The next thing is to do the gathering stitches that we have for all the ruching that's down the side. Now, unlike the other tops that we've already done, this one is a single layer on the front, so we're going to do the gathering and then that gets attached to the back panel straight away. It's not being attached to another layer on the front. So let's get the gathers done and get the side seams done. Don't forget, when you're doing the gathering down this side front, you need to measure down 7 centimetres, put yourself a little mark from the neckline edge, and that's where you're going to start, and you're going to do 2 rows of gathering stitches right the way down to the bottom of that seam. So I have sewn the side seam that's got the gathers in now, and the gathers are all incorporated into the seam, so it's the front and the back pieces sewn together. Don't forget using a lightning bolt stitch if you're doing this on your sewing machine. I've done it with the lightning bolt stitch, and then I've also, personal preference, finished the seams on my overlocker. I know you don't have to do that with stretch fabrics, but I like the inside of my garments to look really nice and neat. So I've used my rainbow overlocker thread and finished that seam. And then I've attached on the other side, the shoulder seam has been done in the same way, lightning bolt and overlocker stitch. Now make sure that that edge that you've done the elastic in lines up as close as you can, just to keep it nice and neat. So the next thing we're going to do now is sew our one sleeve in while it's in the flap, and then we can sew the side and the underarm seam all in one go. The other thing that I'm going to do with my sleeve is put a small strip of stretch fix on it before I attach it, just so that it's easier when we're turning the hem up on it later on. Okie dokie, I've got my top virtually sewn now. So we've sewn under the arms, we've got the sleeve in on one side. As I've said before, I've finished all my seams with the overlocker. And now we need to do a quick try on. Fingers crossed it fits. If it's a little bit baggy around that neckline, you can just take it in at this point under the arm or a little bit at the shoulder and just do some tweaking so that that fits nice and tight and snug. Then we're going to install a modesty strap. So if you can visualise this on, I've got obviously reasonable sized boobs, so I'm going to need to wear a comfortable bra. Now you can wear a strapless bra, but they are a little bit uncomfy, particularly if you're wearing them all day, and this is a day type top for me. So I'm going to install a modesty strap at this side, and it's going to cover up where my bra strap is, fingers crossed. So I've cut a strip a lot longer of the fabric than I need. I've been generous with it because we're just going to put it on and adjust it in a little bit. So the next thing that I'm going to do before I try this on is just have this wrong sides together, sew a seam all the way up the long edge, turn it and press it, and then it'll be ready for when I try the top on to start adjusting it. Okay, so I've popped over to my cutting table just to show you how I'm going to attach the strap in. I've got it pinned in place where it needs to be when I tried it on, and I've got it to the right length that I need so that it's a snug fit where my bra strap is. So we've got the garment inside out, and this is where we did our zigzag stitching. Now I want to finish mine off by folding it over like that, and then I'm going to pin it in place, and then I'm going to just do a single line normal stitching, but I'm going to use some Mariflex thread to stitch it down on the outside, and we want to catch this strapping at the same time. So what we're going to do is get the strap where it needs to be, turn it back on itself like so, put it in the middle of where you're going to turn it over, and then turn it over and so you're sandwiching that little strap in place and you've no raw edges. So then pin it in place. And then do the same with the back, the same all the way around your neck band edge. And then, as I said, I'm going to stitch that with a normal, you can do twin needle stitching if you like. I'm just going to do a normal single row of stitches, but I'm going to use Mariflex thread. If you haven't got Mariflex, then you can do it with your lightning bolt stitch on your machine instead. So I'll go and get that done, and then we've just got the hems to do. So here we go. I've done the top with the one sleeve, the slant front, and I've put myself my modesty strap, working really well. There's the back. Really pleased with this, and I might make another one as well to go with it for my hauls. So that is our Moriko top all finished. But before I go, I just thought I would go through all the different ones that I've done. So as I said, we've done the one sleeve version today, and I hope the modesty strap has made you think again about whether you can make this version or not. And on the rail behind me, I've got my other versions, so we'll just have a quick chat through all those, and then I will love you and leave you. So I've got the one we made today on, and then the one we did as I was sew along was the one with the crossover front and the crossover back. Really like that one, but I did it in quite a lightweight jersey fabric, and I think this pattern works better with the heavier weight jerseys. So cotton jersey, absolutely perfect. Maybe even a ponte or a French terry is what I would use this pattern for. But very wearable, just a little bit lightweight, so there's some drag lines on the front just because of the weight of the fabric. But that was the one we did as the sew along, crossover front and crossover back. I also made one up that is the normal t-shirt top but has the crossover on the front. Now, I'm not gonna lie, this one I'm not very keen on. It feels a bit odd when it's on, and there's lots of layers because the crossover is on the front and on the back. So where all this is crossing over on one side of the body, you've got two layers of fabric and then just one layer here. So not my favourite version, I've got to be honest. And then the third one that I've tried is the one that is the solid back and the crossover front. And I've done this one with a little bit of a contrast. So I've done one half in the floral, the back's been done in the floral, and then the other half of the front has been done in some plain cream fabric. And yeah, quite like this one, something a little bit different for me. Would I make it again two-tone? Again, probably not. I think I'm going to make another one of this version, but I'm going to do it all in one fabric, or try and find a patterned cotton jersey and a plain cotton jersey that actually matches with it, if you know what I mean. I think this is a little bit too much of a contrast, but this was a really nice one to make. I like the fact that it's single layer at the back and just a double layer where this crossover is on the front, and it's across your tummy area. So if you're worried about that area, then you've got a little bit of a secret girdle with that. So yeah, that one, very wearable, but perhaps do it all in one colour or more tonal next time. But the one I'm wearing is definitely my favourite, probably because I didn't think that I would like it when I was making it, but actually it's come out a really good fit. I've been able to tweak it at the top of the shoulder by cinching it up a little bit to make this tighter across the front. You could also cinch it in at the side if you wanted. The modesty strap has made it for me because it means I can wear my bra without feeling like I'm flashing it. I know it's quite trendy to just have a bright coloured bra at that side and wear it, but it's just not me. So yeah, it's a win from me. So let me know, have you started yours yet? Are you still on the Seasons of Ease dress? Were you deciding you weren't going to do the Moriko but have changed your mind? Let me know. There is a Moriko top in that pattern for everybody, I promise. So what I'm going to do in the Facebook group, I'm going to put, because the pattern can be a bit of a head scratcher. It's not hard to sew, it's just a little bit difficult to follow all the instructions because they give you different instructions for the different patterns, the different styles, sorry. So in the Facebook group, I'm going to put an image of each of the ones that I've made, and in the details, the list of the pattern pieces that you actually need to make that top, because I found that a little bit of a head scratcher in the pattern details. So I hope I've helped, I hope I've inspired you, and I will see you again next week where we start on our Pietra pant journey. So happy sewing, take care, see you soon, bye.